Now, after that seamless transition, we are in the dungeon that we got after we read the Museum Plague, where the skeleton of the last great dragon was discovered. I say great with inverted with commas, mainly because yes, the last of the great dragons, because it has got a secret. How did we find it when trained archaeologists missed it? It's a secret. It's a secret to anyone. But let's just watch. This is a long dungeon crawl. This is a long and tedious dungeon crawl, so with little to no information. There are three new types of enemies, all of them of the same family, and all of them differentiate themselves in the same fashion as every other family tree of enemies. One of them are the regular damage, the others do heavier damages, hit more, and the third one have associated fire attack and can damage your armor. That is true for the undead family, and it is true for this one, for this family of enemies. Of course, they are dragon kind. You did not get any gold starts if you guessed it earlier. Now then, this is the Dragneron, little Dragnerons, little dragons, little low damage, low dexterity. You can probably kill them in, well, I'm going to say one hit, but I have obviously proved wrong by now. Now then, I did believe that the electrical damage would be more harmful to them, but it seems that they are scaled enemies, and much like golems, well, they have to be dealt with a machine gun to the face. Now that the Burn of War, it's the second tier of enemy of the dragonkind enemies. They are fire damaging, and they can damage your armor if they connect. Not too terribly, as long as you keep your distance and as long as the NPCs don't go for them first, you should be able to take them out with ranged weapons. As you can see, it is one of those dungeons. You spend more than half of your time just waiting for the enemies to get in line to finish their turn. And that was Jaina teleporting. Now then, it also has got its mace, and it has got gold coins dropped everywhere. That's about as much of the level that can be said as that can be said about the level. Now then, to fill in the time with something a little bit more interesting than just blindly murder enemies, we can talk about the history of the game, at least the in-game lore. The multiple races of Arcanum appeared around 100,000 years ago according to the manual. It was the same way that hominids descended from the... Okay, I don't know my biology. There was the Cro-Magnon man, there was the Homo erectus, etc., etc. Only instead, here people got drawn to trees, to the rock, etc. Mutations happened. People became orcs. People became elves. People became dwarves. A little bit like the Shadowrun mythos with the awakening and the sixth world. Now then, what does this mean? It means that according to the manual, humans consider themselves the higher race, or at least, well, their prepotence is matched with that of elves, because according to them, they are the only race in the world of Arcanum that can breed with any other. That is right. The existence of half-orcs and half-ogres is the result of human female and a male of the determined species. Whether the opposite has happened, it is not mentioned in the game or the manual. Now, what does this mean to our orcish friends? As you have seen throughout the whole game, orcs are little more than second-class citizens. They are reduced to robbing highways, or if they live in the cities, they are cropped together in slums and forced to work hellish hours in factories, much like early 19th century Victorian London, Victorian England. What is the reason behind all this behavior? Well, it's part of the civilized mentality. Orcs are being considered technically an inferior race to humans or gnomes. Well, right now in Tehran there's the Gnomish Council controlling everything, but since they are considered to be inferior races, they have been relegated to that social position. Why are they considered inferior races? Because they cannot perform as well intellectually. Why can they perform as well intellectually? Well, it's as good as guess as any. It's never explained in the game, and it's left open to the interpretation of the player whether the social position of orcs within this society, I mean purebred orcs, not half orcs, like our main character, which can reach maximum intelligence just like its human counterpart. Whether the true-blooded orcs are actually intellectually inferior to other races, it's debatable whether it's truly biologically they are incapable of developing the mental abilities of its counterpart races, or it's a social construct. Mainly orcs are that way because they haven't been given a chance. That is as much social commentary as I'm willing to indulge in a game that tried to reach for the stars, but unfortunately felt a little bit short. Now then, I think we're going to reach right now the so-called boss of this little dungeon. Right past this place, you'll see a slightly larger, more menacing dragon. And here I'm about to do a very silly thing. Just rush headlong into danger and leave my actual meat shields at 2 turns away in distance. In other words, the enemy AI will attack me. And I don't know why that happened, sorry. Now, this third element of the dragon family, since size doesn't mean anything, he goes down as easily as the rest. Normally, the most terrible or the most terrifying enemy is the one that can damage your equipment. And as you can see, the only thing that the monster had for him was his size. He was actually a lower level than the burn or war from before. Again, combat strategy for Arcanum. Go for the enemy that can destroy your equipment first, because those will always go after you. I don't know if we can talk in terms of a mob of elites and non-elites, but their AI focuses on you first and your party members second. Now then, after collecting all this reward, I think one of those chests is trapped. I can remember right now. It's been a long time since I recorded this. No. Here, yes, though out of those items, 1/3 is cursed. Guess which one? Wait till the end of the video to guess which one. And this book, well, I think it was part of a side quest that never happened. Oh, in fact, much like the warehouse before, it just gives me that feeling. You can discover a ton of secrets of the world of Arcanum that never do anything with it. I think, well, it belongs to a museum. Very sorry. Again, I don't know why that happened. I should be more careful when I'm editing videos. And I'll shut up now for the journal. with that done, well, let's just inspect whatever was left inside this dungeon and kill the remaining enemies, because why waste any good experience, and then go back to sorry about that one, my editing has really gone downhill, as well as my I don't know how I got so careless with this video. Anyways, I'll try. I won't try. I will clear this dungeon out because we kind of need the experience. We don't really need it, but I really like having spare experience points at my disposal in case anything happens. That ring is not cursed. In fact, it's one of the best rings right now we can whip. Clear the dungeon. Then go back to rent to the gypsy woman so that she can identify the items for us, and then we can finally go to Ashbury.
What is it that you...